This is how you can go out and sign those 10K a month clients. This is how you can go out and grow literally any website that you touch. A lot of marketers get SEO completely wrong. They worry about algorithm updates, how AI is going to make SEO obsolete, and they listen to people online for SEO advice when those people don't even do it for a living. But what I'm going to show you in this video are the strategies that nobody is telling you. And to be honest, it's quite simple to the point where it's kind of boring, but it actually works. And it's allowed me to not only get jobs leading SEO at pretty big tech companies, but it's also allowed me to work with dozens of clients and grow my own website, ranking #1 for keywords like best SEO tools, how to start a newsletter, and thousands of others. In fact, the 500K I'm talking about in this video came purely from doing client work. It did not even come from the revenue my own website generates. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact strategy I use for my clients to make that 500K in under 2 years. And not only that, these strategies made my clients a lot more money than that, in fact, into the 8 figures of revenue. So if you're a business owner, this strategy can make you a lot of money. And if you're a freelancer or agency owner or you're aspiring one, this can help you really kickstart and launch your career and set you apart from other SEOs selling services. I'm going to show you real examples as well from actual websites in the wild where you can go and replicate everything I'm going to talk about in this video today, whether it's for your own business or your clients' businesses. Okay, let's jump in. So here we are, the 500K SEO strategy, the SEO service strategy that made me 500K in under 2 years and my clients over $10 million. So let's start off by thinking about what makes a successful SEO campaign. And really, I believe that there are 2 elements to this. The first one is the strategy, quite obvious. And the second one is the tactics. You need both of these in order to implement an SEO strategy properly, be it for clients or for your own business. And on the strategy side, really what this means is that the SEO strategy is your map. This is basically the direction that you're trying to go to, how you create a North Star and work towards that North Star. And I believe that the strategy is actually the most important part of your entire SEO process. It is the 20% that will bring the 80% of your results. And I'm going to show you how I create an SEO strategy using something I've sort of developed over the years doing SEO for multiple different companies and websites that I like to call the APTK framework. I'll show you exactly what that is and what it looks like. And then once you have your strategy, you need to do the tactical stuff to actually bring it to life and bring it to life in the proper way. So the tactics and the SEO tactics are essentially how you execute on that strategy. And this is just simply a series of steps that you take to make sure that you fulfill on that strategy properly. And I'm going to demonstrate this in different content formats that tie into that APTK framework. So you can basically go out and build real business value. And in that real business value, essentially, when you combine the strategy and the tactics, what happens is from an outcome perspective, you get rankings, which leads to traffic, which then leads to conversions, which then leads to revenue. And generally, when you launch an SEO campaign, this is the order in which things happen. And there's sort of a lag between each element. When you first start seeing rankings, you might see the traffic start trickling in, but after some time, that traffic will really start to rise and it'll create that growth chart that goes up and to the right. And after traffic starts growing, then there's the lagging kind of outcome from that is conversions, if you do it right. And of course, conversions will then lead to signups and people paying for your product. Now, when it comes to doing SEO for companies, for businesses, what you have to really remember is that people will pay money if they know that they can either make money or save money. In this case, when we talk about SEO, it's usually in the ballpark of them making more money. So for example, myself, I'm able to charge 10K a month for client services, which is what I pretty much charge now. I made a video about how I signed my first $6,500 a month client, which was my first big ticket client a few years ago. The video will pop up there on the top if you want to check that out after this video. But I'm able to go and sign 10K a month clients now because I'm able to justify that the revenue my client is going to make from me charging them 10K is going to be a lot more than that. I can help them generate $100,000 more in revenue from SEO, and I charge 10% of that. And so when I say all this stuff, because the most important thing is that we need to start here. We need to start with conversions. When I went out and built my media company, Marketer Milk, what I did wrong, I guess, from a business standpoint, was I went after topics of writing like best marketing books or like how to get into marketing. And these were great for my own brand and growing my own blog, but I cannot go after these topics when I work with clients, especially initially, because there's not that trust built. Those topics that I went after, they don't make money. They generate traffic to my website. Maybe a few people from that sign up to my newsletter. And, indirectly, those people can maybe in the future, if they're on my newsletter, I can sell them products and they may or may not buy. It's very uncertain and it's very long-term play. I can afford to do that. You can probably afford to do that if you're building out your own websites or if it's your own business. But if you're working with clients, they want conversions right away. And so you have to start at the end with your strategy, which is what I'm going to show you how to do. Because really, without the right strategy, the tactics that I'm going to teach you are going to lead you nowhere. Like, I can show you how to find keywords that many people aren't going after and they're low competition. They have a lot of search volume, but if they don't lead to conversions, then what's the point? It's from clients speaking. Like, I can show you how I ranked, how to best marketing books or how to learn marketing or get into marketing, but those didn't really lead anywhere. And there was no clear strategy when I was initially building Marketer Milk. So while I was good at identifying keywords that I could rank for and being able to write articles that ranked really well, it didn't really lead to any outcomes. And so that's why I say strategy is the most important thing, and you start at the end with conversions first. And I love to use car analogies. If you watch my previous video around learning SEO in 2026 and how I would go about it, that video will pop up right now. You can check it out after this video. I use a car analogy in that on how to learn SEO, and I'm going to use one again here. You can be the best driver in the world, but if you don't know your destination, what's the point? In this case with SEO and driving, this can be knowing how to downshift, knowing when to press the brakes, when to press the gas, when to turn, all the tactical stuff of driving a car or being a race car driver. But if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have a map, what's the point of knowing all those tactics? And this is the thing, is like a lot of YouTubers or people online teaching SEO, they teach you the tactical stuff. Everybody loves tactics. It gets views, it gets clicks. Here's how to do your on-page SEO. Here's how to write the best article in the world that will rank. Here's how to drive backlinks to your pages to get them to rank and show up in Google number one. But a lot of people don't really talk about the strategy. And this is, I think you only really develop this through years of experience. And I've been doing SEO every single day, minus the weekend. Some weekends, but most weekends I don't really work. And minus like times being sick or going on vacation, most days of the weekdays for the past 6 years, since 2019, 7 years, I've been doing SEO, and you develop this intuition of strategy by doing that. So let's talk really deeply about the strategy before we get into the tactics in this video. And I believe that there are 3 elements to creating a great strategist. And this is how you can become a great strategist. The first element is product marketing. Product marketing, in my opinion, is the most important element in all of marketing and all the field of marketing. What this really means, what product marketing means, is being able to understand the market, the niche, the industry that you're in, what types of companies and products are within that niche, what are the problems that people have within that niche, that target audience, and how do all the different products fulfill on those problems that people have? And then you take your company or your client's company, and basically, how does your company solve the problem that the people have in that target market? And how is it positioned differently than the rest of the products within that space? Because people are overwhelmed. There's tons of tools out there for specific things. Like in SEO, there's tons of keyword research tools. If you're a keyword research company, how do you understand all the tools in that market, what people are looking for, and how your product is differentiated from the rest? That is all product marketing, is basically just positioning in the market and really knowing how to speak to target customers. Now, understanding that is how you will basically uncover pain points that people have and what people really want from content. Then you need to deliver on that content through copywriting. So the next core skill, the second one out of the three, is copywriting. And copywriting, is just how well are you able to translate your products and services, the solutions to them, how well are you able to translate that to a target audience and convince them that this can actually solve their problem? And how can you be persuasive? How can you be relatable? How can you put yourself in the shoes of your target customer? And this is why when I go out and I work with clients, I generally only work with clients where I am a customer of their tool already, because I deeply understand the pain points that I've had in my industry and how their product solved it. And I'm able to speak to that in my copywriting. So the better you are at product marketing, the better you'll be able to convey the problems and solutions and how a product is different than the rest of that market in your content. This is where a lot of companies struggle, in my opinion, and why I've worked with tons of companies that I've worked with SEO agencies that they didn't like, because those agencies simply do not understand product marketing well. But these two are the elements that can get you going and are, I would believe, the most important ones to relate and drive conversions, but you need to also drive eyeballs. And that's where the third element comes in, which is growth marketing. And this is essentially, you can call it performance marketing. Anything you do within keyword research and understanding demand, this all falls under growth marketing. So one, product marketing. How do you position a product in the market and how well do you understand your target customer and their pain points? Then there's copywriting. How do you speak to those effectively and relate to your target market in a way that makes them trust you? And then growth marketing, how do you find topics and keywords that you can spread your message from your product marketing and your copywriting chops? And once you have these three skills, which is quite rare to be honest, this is what makes you a top 1% SEO. This is how you can go out and sign those 10K a month clients. This is how you can go out and grow literally any website that you touch, is you deeply understand these elements. And these are the core to a great content and SEO strategist. The better you are at these three, the better SEO that you'll be. Did that rhyme? I don't know. Okay, so I know this was very theoretical. Let's get a bit more tactical with the strategy stuff. So in this case, we have the APTK framework, which is how I tactically think about strategy. And this stands for audience, products, topics, and keywords. And audience basically means who are the people that benefit from your products and services. Products are what products and services do you have that actually help that audience? And then you combine those two to create topics. So what topics or subjects can you derive from your audience and products/services? And then from those topics, what are the keywords you can create based off of those topics? And then for keywords are basically what keywords can you derive from those topics to meet your target buyer in the search engines for whatever keyword they're searching for at any stage of the funnel. Okay, so this is how I think about the APTK framework visually. And this is what I do for every client that I work with, or every website essentially that I create content for. And this is an example of a fake company I just made up called Reach Them, which is a email outreach software. And what I usually do is I have these four columns that are essentially the APTK framework. So who is the audience? In this case, I'll create ICPs with different names to visualize what target market is or who I'm actually speaking to. And this is from actually my paid program. So this might not make full sense, but I basically create this in my paid program, and I have templates to this in my SEO community, which will be launching soon. So make sure you subscribe to the free newsletter. It's the first link in the description. I'm not selling you anything in there. It's completely free. And then you'll be notified when the SEO community is live, so you get access to all these templates. But it's right here too. You can just check it out, take a screenshot of this, give it to ChatGPT, and it can recreate it. But in this case, the audience, I had, say, agency founder, which was a person, Melanie in this case, and then the product to be pitched in that article is like a people's database. So this is again relating to creating an email outreach tool. And then from that, I derived a topic of email examples. And then from that topic, I basically derived the keyword cold email examples. And this is essentially the keywords I have this funnel stage section where it goes through the top of funnel, the middle of funnel, the bottom of funnel, and the super bottom of funnel, which essentially is like the most aware stage. I know I'm glancing over this stuff. I have a video on this already on my channel, and I've talked about this a lot on my blog. If you look up SaaS content marketing or even SaaS SEO, I have articles that go deeper into this stuff. And if you actually watch my affiliate marketing for beginners course on this YouTube channel, I'll link it above here. I go over this exactly and I recreate it. So I don't want to get too into this because this is more advanced. I know you're here for like a lot of the tactical stuff, but I want to show that this is sort of the strategy framework that everything fits in and how we derive ideas based off of the audience, the product, and the topic. So the next part of creating a SEO strategy that, has made me over $500,000 doing client work in just under 2 years is understanding the tactical side, which in this case are the content formats. And these are the 4 content formats that I've found do the best for conversions. If you remember, we talked about that we're starting with conversions. I'm not talking about creating blog posts or landing pages that just drive a lot of traffic for clients or for your business. I'm talking about creating pages that have high conversions that actually lead to revenue. And the 4 main ones that I've seen are how-to product-led posts, so showing how to solve a problem with your solution. The best of product category posts, which is ranking yourself and alternatives in a specific category, and the competitor alternatives, which is showcasing yourself and others against a main competitor. And then the last one is competitor versus competitor, which is comparing 2 competitors in the space, then inserting yourself into that conversation. Now, let's go over examples of all of these. So the first one is how to product-led posts. And here's an example. So if I search up how to automate emails in Gmail, for example, I can scroll here and I can see this article from Mail Mentor. We can also see they're ranking number 1 in the AI overviews. And this article, if I go into it, we can see it's saying the 7 ways to automate Gmail and save 10 hours of work. And this is essentially a very broad how-to article. It's not mentioning any product or brand name in the keywords. So it's just somebody generally that has a problem and they're looking for a tutorial on how to do something. And in this case, this is what Mail Mentor is doing. They're showing you how to automate emails with Gmail. And in this article, if I scroll through, you can see they're showing you how to do this with Mail Mentor. This is a little product that they have, and they even have a YouTube video here, which I think really helps rank this video as well. That is ranking number 1 in the AI overviews. As you can see, their Mail Mentor sent with a follow-up. And this article is essentially showing how to do this task using Mail Mentor. And if I go to Mail Mentor's homepage, we can see it's an email SaaS product for sending personalized emails at scale. So this is a perfect example of a software company doing this how-to product-led posts. Okay, the next one are these best of listicle type posts, and generally these are like the best of a certain product category. So for example, I can search best AI CRM, and we can see that there's a lot of results that come up. This one right here, right under Reddit, is from Scratchpad, top 6 AI-powered CRMs and how to use them. If I click on it, we can see not the best looking design either, and it's ranking pretty strong. This article is showing all the, 6 AI-powered CRMs tools. And the first one, what do you know, is Scratchpad. So they're creating a best AI CRM blog post, and they are essentially putting themselves as number 1. Now, a lot of marketers will be like, hey, this doesn't really seem genuine to put yourself as number 1. But if you actually believe that you are the best solution and you can convey that properly in your copywriting skills, then I don't see why you couldn't do this. And in fact, I've done this for clients, and these best of posts tend to do best no pun intended, they tend to do really well for conversions, which is why I've only included 4 formats, and they're the top converting things that I've seen across my clients and my own websites. For example, I have best of articles on my blog as well, and they're some of the biggest articles in terms of driving affiliate commissions. So I know that, while marketers think that it doesn't make sense to put yourself as number one, you have to remember that marketers generally aren't the people consuming your content, and people actually do sign up to the number one result. There's just anecdotal data that I've seen in clients that I work with where it works. Now, I know we've been on software for a lot, so let me show you another best of product post in more of the e-commerce or affiliate space. So for example, I can look up best creatine gummies. And here we can see an article from barbend.com. And if I scroll through, this looks like an affiliate blog of some sorts. Yep, they have best creatine gummies here. So let's shop for this. And we can see that the URL, it's actually a sponsorship. So they're actually doing this kind of sponsored post in a best of article. Be careful with this monetization strategy, but people do it. And some of these are probably either other sponsorships or affiliate. In this case, we can see there's an affiliate. So they'll make an affiliate commission off of this, but this is just an example of e-commerce. So if you're a supplement brand and you sell creatine gummies, you can put yourself in number one. Or if you're a fitness blog like this one, you can see that you can charge for sponsorship positions or do affiliate commissions through it. But this is an example of it working for actual physical products. And let me show you one more so I'm not BSing. I've used cycling a lot in my affiliate marketing for beginners tutorial course that I mentioned earlier. And one thing for that one that could really work is best clip-in pedals, let's see, for a road bike. And here we can see this top ranking article from In the Know Cycling. Again, another blog, and we can see they recommend the Shimano clip-in pedals and some other ones. And you can see that they have code to 10% off code. So there's probably some commission happening here. If I click through the product, you can see it goes to this site. And this AFID is usually affiliate ID. So this is probably another affiliate blog of doing these best of product category posts. So find the category you're in and then look for best category and try to go after those keywords. And the third one is alternative posts. Now, these can actually convert really well. I've had some clients where these are the top converting posts for them. And for example, this can be something like Notion alternatives. And we can see some options here from Reddit, Medium, it's Foss. If I click on this one, I can see that this looks like I don't know what this site is. It could be it looks like a media company, so media blog. And they're essentially showing all the privacy-focused Notion alternatives. If I scroll down a bit more on this page, I can see one from Slight. And Slight is another kind of, I think, project management tool. So as you can see, they've said they put themselves as the first one for a Notion alternative. Now, probably the reason why this article is ranking at the bottom of the first page has to do with a lot of factors. My hunch is that it has to do with EEAT signals and also the way that it's written. I have a video on how to write blog posts for SEO that rank really well. The video will pop up here if you want to check that out. It's a full 40-minute video of me actually writing a full blog post in that video, and the blog post that I wrote and published in that video is actually ranking on the first page of Google for its target keyword. But this is just another example of an alternative post that you can just basically insert yourself in. It's very similar to the way that you would do best of listicle posts. Now, the last one, which is a bit sneaky, is if you're a startup or you're working with a business that is pretty new and not too many people know about the brand name already, you can sort of ride the wave of two different bigger competitors in your space. So, for example, let's stay on the topic of Notion and project management tools. If you're a project management startup, you can basically go after the keyword Notion versus some other company. So you can see all these other different ideas here. In this case, the first one being Notion versus Obsidian. If I go to that, we can see here Reddit, and then Slight is actually number 2, which is the same website we saw before. And in this case, Obsidian versus Notion, what they're basically doing is just comparing the two different bigger alternatives in the space. They're talking about what each one does, its pros and cons, etc. And then if we actually scroll all the way at the bottom, we can see, a final verdict. And if you're looking for a more collaborative knowledge management tool, try Slide. So you essentially take two different competitors that people are searching for. They may not even know your brand exists, but if you can write a great article specifically targeting that keyword and rank for it, then you have the opportunity to insert yourself into that conversation. And I've noticed these can convert really high as well, mostly because people are way in that most aware bottom of funnel stage. If you remember from the APTK spreadsheet that I showed, most people are really ready to purchase if they're comparing two different tools in the space. They have a problem, they know that these tools can solve it, and if you can actually insert yourself knowing that product marketing knowledge really well, then you can maybe win that customer over from using the other tools that they were initially searching about. Now let's do one more for this. Looking around, I have this Waterloo sparkling water. So we can do like Waterloo drink versus LaCroix, for example. And we can see this article from Tasting Table. We ranked every Waterloo sparkling water worst to best. And this is actually starting from the top. But the whole idea here is that you can actually do this from a e-commerce perspective as well. Just because I'm showing software examples because it's what I know the best doesn't mean you have to stick to that. You can do e-commerce, physical product. You can compare services together if there are big name brands or big name agencies. So just a lot of different ideas. I'm just trying to get you to think about the tactical side of how you would go after certain content formats within your strategy. But in this case, we can see this is another media site, which looks like they're monetizing through a bunch of display ads, and they probably have some other articles that link out to things, but yeah, mostly display ads here. And that's pretty much it. I take the strategy that I use the APTK framework for, which you can read a blog post that I wrote about this as well. And then I take the tactics of knowing what types of content formats to produce to fulfill that strategy, and also like the copywriting, the product marketing, knowing the right keyword research from a growth marketing perspective. I have videos on all of this stuff, but combining those two is how you become a top 1% SEO, and you can actually deliver results for clients, get a case study from them, and use that to sign more clients or grow your own website and actually use that as a case study, which is what I did. I started Marketer Milk. I grew as a case study. I also outreached to other companies, showed them what I'm capable of, and was able to sign them. And now a lot of stuff just comes through referrals. So this was essentially the main strategy that I use. And I hope you learned something in this video. If you have any questions about anything or any more videos that you want to see, leave a comment below. Like this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.